إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. Brothers and sisters and friends across the world, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the first in a series of probably 5 to 6 short videos that we are going to make in the context of the viral spread of COVID-19. The reason I'm making this video is the fact that for the past 6 to 7 weeks, I have been in regular contact with a number of brothers, imams, Maulvis, muftis, da'is across the world, in Mauritius, in Africa, and in several other countries. And we've been talking about the very specific context that the Muslim community is facing in the year 2020 in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the reason we've been talking is that a number of those people have found themselves in a situation where they have to take decision for the Muslim community in terms of the response to the pandemic and what should be done in terms of rituals. So what has happened was that mosques have been locked down, congregational prayers have been cancelled, Jummas have been banned, and a number of related issues pertaining to congregational prayers, Taraweeh prayers, i'tikaf, etc., etc. So there has been a number of issues that we have been discussing, and what has drawn my attention was that the responses of different mosque committees, ulamas, imams, and maulanas and muftis have been very different. So there's a spectrum of views and opinions, and in some cases these differences have been very acrimonious. The second thing that has drawn my attention was that a substantial number of these brothers have confessed to me personally that on several occasions they felt lost. So they didn't even know what positions to take and how to respond. Now, so I thought, for the benefit of those brothers, that we should share our knowledge and make some videos to help and assist in decision making, not only in the context of COVID-19, but also in future pandemic and future issues where important decision regarding the community would have to be taken. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is the problem that we're facing. You see, very often what happens within the Muslim community is that we define the problem wrongly. So in this particular case, many of those brothers thought that this is just a problem that pertains to deen. So what does Islamic law, what does fiqh, what does Quran and Sunnah says about this pandemic? But you see, the problem is that if we think that this is a problem that pertains only to rituals and deed, we're actually missing on perhaps the major part of the problem. So the question that needs to be asked here is, what is the nature of this problem that we're facing? And then we should be able to respond how we're going to respond to it. Now, before elaborating on the very nature of the problem, it would be good to look at the Quran and the Sunnah and see whether problem identification has been tackled by these sources. I would refer you to an incident that the Quran has taken care to mention in the story of our beloved Prophet Musa alayhi salam. I think many of you are already aware of this story, where on one occasion Musa has been delivering a speech, and after that his followers ask him, "O Musa, is there anyone more knowledgeable than you?" And he responded, "No, I don't think so." And then Allah ordered him to go and meet someone else. That person was Al-Khidr. And then when he met that person, the person told him that he's going on a journey, and Musa asked him if he would allow him to accompany him, and he told Musa there's one condition on which he would allow him to meet him. That condition was not to ask him question about the problems that they will be facing, and not to ask him question except when they finish the journey. Now here we have a number of situations, a number of problems, and one of them, for instance, is that they took a boat, crossed a river, and when they reached on the back of the river, on the other side of it, Al-Khidr drilled a hole in the boat and let it sink. So to Musa alayhi salam, the problem, this is a problematic thing to do. So the problem here is we have a boat, we would need that boat to cross over again to go to the other side of the bank. So why do you drill a hole in it? So to Musa alayhi salam, this was a straightforward problem. That this boat serves a purpose, we should not have let that boat sink. The same thing happened again when Al-Khidr actually killed a youth. So to Musa alayhi salam, this problem was a straightforward problem. A person, innocent, so you can't kill an innocent, you can't take an innocent life. But then after this, after a number of incidents, then Al-Khidr informed Musa alayhi salam in the incident pertaining to sinking of the boat, that the problem was not a useful boat, a boat in good condition that we would need to cross over again. The problem was actually a future attack by foreign forces that are going to seize all boats on the river, and they are going to use that in order to be able to cross rivers and to come and attack the people. So the problem is not simply a boat that we would use, but wider issues and wider stakes that pertain to this problem that we need to take into consideration whenever we have to take decision. And the Quran has taken care to mention that incident to us, to make us realize that problems are never straightforward, or problems are never simple. And you should be very careful, beware of people, du'at or imams or anyone telling you, Islam is very simple, it's either this or that. Be very careful of that. Now, a second incident that I would mention to you, which clarify or which shows you that problems and problem identification is crucial in Islam for decision making, is an incident that we're going to find in the life of our beloved Prophet Muhammad. Now, many of you remember that when the Prophet came to Medina, he was a leader, and there was a group of people which is called the hypocrites, who used to pose serious challenge to Muslim. And on one occasion, when the Prophet was talking to his companions, this leader of the hypocrite, his name was Abdullah bin Ubay ibn Salul, he just looked at the Prophet and said, "O Muhammad, fear God." And the Prophet said, "Be careful. Is there anyone who is most fearful of God than me here?" So the chap stood up and then went away. And when he did that, Khalid ibn Walid said to the Prophet, "Do you mind if I chop his head off?" And the Prophet said no. Now the thing is, the Quran is very clear on what should be done to hypocrites. For instance, in Surah Tawbah, verse 73, the Quran says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها النبي جاهد الكفار والمنافقين وَغْلُظْ عَلَيْهِمْ. O Prophet, fight the infidels and the munafiq, the hypocrites, and be harsh towards them, the belligerent among them. Now, to Khalid bin Walid, this problem was clear-cut. So, these guys are hypocrites. They are actually insulting the leader of the Muslim community, and this warrants capital punishment, that these guys need to be punished. Now, what happened was that the Prophet did not give him permission, and the Prophet said no. Now, these incidents, you'll find them in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim as well. And when Khalid asked the Prophet why he, even though the Quran is clear, why he should not take the decision to just eliminate these hypocrites, the Prophet replied, لا يتحدث الناس أنه كان يقتل أصحابه. So that the wider people across Arabia would not say that this leader, this Muslim leader Muhammad, kills his own men. Now, what does this situation tell us here? Now, this, if you look at the situation carefully, what the Prophet has been trying to tell us is that a problem is never simple, never straightforward, never clear-cut. Especially problems that pertain to the whole community and problems that have a wider social implication, not only locally, but maybe regionally and even globally. Problems are never simple. So why the Prophet, despite the fact that the Quran says, Jahidil kuffara wal munafiqin, fight them, the Prophet said no. The reason is that when you look at the situation in the context that this happened, this man, Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul, now, if you were to kill that man, if you were to inflict capital punishment for treason, for the high level of insult that he has made towards the head of state at that time, this man has a number of killing this man has a number of implications. Now, first one is that this person has a nuisance value that is non-negligible in Medina. This man, before Muhammad came to Medina, he was meant to be the leader. Actually, he was meant to be crowned king in Medina. So he has a number of followers. He has fans. And these people could actually, if capital punishment were inflicted on him, his followers, his fans could actually destabilize the nascent, the new Muslim community. So there is that political issue that need to be taken into consideration. Secondly, this man belongs to a tribe. Even though many of the people in his tribe have become Muslim and do not support his attitude and his misbehaviors, yet blood relationship is something very valuable, and many of those people could actually withdraw their allegiance, could actually start to have misgivings about the Prophet, about the believers, that could actually backfire onto the Prophet, onto the nascent Muslim community. Thirdly, this man also had some very close relation and alliances with the Quraysh. And the Quraysh at that time were powerful, were the most powerful force to be reckoned in Arabia. And should their allies know what has been happening to him, this could prompt them to take action against the relatively weak Muslim community in Medina that could backfire onto the overall interest of Islam and the Muslim community. So in that particular context, taking into consideration all these stakes, the Prophet was not happy to just apply the verse of the Quran which says, fight the Muslims, fight the infidels and fight the munafiq. You can't do that in this particular context because a number of issues, a number of maslaha, a number of stakes prevents you from doing it right now. But maybe later on, when situation evolves, then you could apply this, these actions. So basically, what we are trying, or the point that we are trying to draw home here, is that issues, problems, are never simple. Problems have a number of stakes, have a number of issues, have a number of related problems that are attached to them. And in this particular context, in the context of COVID-19, if you think that the problem is just a problem of what does the Quran says about Jamaat, what does the Quran says about Jummah, what does the Hadith say about, and what does fiqh book, what does Islamic law say about pandemic, that is not the only problem that we have to consider. So this particular problem of COVID-19 is a problem that has a faith, a ritual dimension to it. The Quran, the Sunnah, the Hadith, etc., and the fiqh. It has also another issue attached to it. It is the issue of public health. What does public health data tell us about this problem, about its evolution, and about the responses that are taken to it? So there's a public health dimension that needs to be considered. Number 3, there is a policy dimension that pertains to the problem. That politics is, what does the responses, the state and government responses towards this problem is? Are they fair, equitable, justified? Are all these policies actually concur with freedoms and liberties and what our deen, our religion tell us? So are these policies compliant with or in agreement with our faith and our values? So there are policy dimension attached to it. And then there is also a global dimension, geopolitics, a global dimension that should be considered. So basically, and also we should not forget, another problem, another dimension that this pandemic has is the dimension of expert, or more precisely, media expert, or the media dimension. Can we rely on what mainstream media is feeding us? Or are we actually listening to the experts, or are we actually listening to media expert, or what the media is portraying to us as expert, and we are listening to these people and making decisions based on them? Are these reliable people that we can rely on to make decisions? So basically what we are going to do, so today we've been talking about the dimensions or the issues and the stakes surrounding the problem. And in the next videos, we shall now start talking about what the data tell us, and whether, and all of us know very well, that decision making should be based on data, on reliable data, on facts, and not on speculation. Because in Islam we have a very clear principle which says, Al-yaqeen la yazulu bi-shak. Certainty prevails. Speculation, whims, fancies are not considered in Islamic law. So for today, we will end here and see you next time when we're going to be talking in our next video. We're going to be talking about public health data and whether the decisions and responses that we've taken are actually justified by the science of epidemiology and public health data. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.